guys, it's Josh. Today we're going to talk about SCIM provisioning with Azure. So I'm going to set up a basic user in Azure and use SCIM to provision that with Cato and just kind of talk high level about how that works with Cato. So essentially what SCIM is, and I just pulled up the Wikipedia article here. Let me bring it up. Is system for cross-domain identity management. So it allows you to be able to update users across applications using your IDP. In this case, we are going to use Azure. So when you change users in Azure, they're going to update within Cato. So you're not having to manually change things in Cato. You can use your Azure or Entra ID, IDP to be able to update users, change users, delete users within Cato. I'm just going to show you a very basic setup today. Everyone's environment's a little different, but it's a great way to get onboarded with Cato using your existing IDP, in this case, Azure, and starting to make users relevant, starting to use the platform, getting them set up with remote access. All right, so let's go over this. You create and disable users in the Cato Management Application, single sign-on, synchronize users. So the biggest use case is you have a bunch of users, you need to get them into Cato for remote access and then provision them correctly so they have the correct access. The first step in that is syncing that for security reasons to your IDP so that Cato is always matched up to what your master identity controller is, in this case, Azure. Okay, so there's some prerequisites. I'll let you read through this stuff. It's on the Cato support docs for you. So there's going to be defining users. The first thing you do, you're going to start doing is you're going to configure the Cato SCIM app. So let's walk through what that looks like. I think I have it here. So if you go into your Microsoft Azure environment, and you go to Enterprise Applications, you can browse the gallery and just look for Cato here. And then here you're going to see the Cato Network Provisioning. This is the application that I'm going to be using to show you how to provision. So download that, or actually just enable that in your Azure account, and you'll be able to start the process of SCIM provisioning. Great. Okay, so we've done that part of it. Now let's go directly into the Cato application. In Cato, as the administrator, you're going to go to Access, and you're going to go to Directory Services. So in here, you're going to use a base URL here, and you're going to generate a secret token. Once you have those, let's go back to the document here. So we have those. So that's enable SCIM provisioning. It's gonna, and then hit save. And then we're going to copy that URL and that token we talked about. And those are the things we're going to paste inside of the Azure Cato application. So so now we're going to take the base URL and the secret token and update that within our Cato Network Provisionings application. So in your case, if you just downloaded that, your tenant URL and secret token should be available to paste. In my case, I'm just showing you, I can go update the credentials, paste that in here, and you hit test connection, and you're on your way, and you get a green light, and you're good to go. That means there's a SCIM connection from your Cato application up into your Azure AD environment. Great. So now let's go back out and let's look at what provisioning users look like. Under view provision details, I can see when the last time it was completed, the duration, and then right now it's every 40 minutes as new users come in. I'm going to do a provision on demand just for the sake of this particular provisioning. Just so I'm going to pick a user in my environment just so we can test it. If I had made a change or something had happened, it's going to go in here and I'm going to go boom. It's going to pick out lab admin, just that's the user that just came on board and I want to get them online in Cato using it. So boom, it goes through and says imported users, boom, boom, boom. So it's like, hey, good to go. I didn't make any changes in this particular time, so it says skipped there. But I want to show you in Cato what I just did, and it's going to show you the update. So as you provision, this is the same thing that's going to happen when you do an interval, when you do an update with SCIM. It's going to take those users and import them into Cato. Okay, so what does that look like in the Cato system? So let's go here and let's look at users. And I can see here SCB users, so that lab admin is connected. But I want to look at the directory, and you can kind of see the differences here. So configured, you can see SCIM defined versus manual. So I've added some directly in here, and I've added some via the SCIM app. And the lab admin is one of those I've added via the SCIM app. I just made this change to this phone number. So here's the fields. And so when it updates that in the interval, or when I do that provision on demand, it's also going to update those details. So if you change someone's phone number, their name, something's changed, it's going to update in Cato. If I deleted lab admin, it's going to delete it in Cato. So that becomes the master directory for everything. So in summary, let's go back to the actual document. Pretty straightforward. You're going to use Azure AD SCIM updates for users, so you can give them SCP access, you can synchronize users, create and disable users. What you're going to do is you're going to go into Cato like we did under SCIM provisioning under access, and you're going to say, hey, we're going to go SCIM, we're going to base URL, bearer token, and then we're going to take those, we're going to put those in Azure AD. You're going to test it, And then you're going to put in provisioning mode and start to test a single user and say, hey, let me provision this one user on demand. And then you're going to watch those roll through your environment and you'll be good to go. And then finally, you will get a notification like this. So SCIM provision notifications, it succeeded. I updated that user lab admin. Like I showed you, I added the phone number, and you're going to get an email that looks like this when that gets updated so that you know when things are being added or changed in your environment. All right, guys, I hope this is helpful. Thanks so much.